So I'm Thomas. I'm French. I work for Nokia. I'm just going to give you a small idea of what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. Okay, but first you have to understand what is Nokia. Nokia is a listed company on the stock exchange in New York, meaning that this company needs to obey to the FCPA anti-corruption rules. Okay? Which means that a company of this size has really big requirements about compliance, which means, okay, you have to follow the law. You can't breach it. We have many regulations that we have to follow. Nokia is not only selling mobile phone. Okay? Maybe that's the idea of everybody, but that's not actually the core of what we are doing. We are selling telecom networks. So when you look at your phone, and when you see there is 4G, 3G, GPRS or H, that's what we are building. We are building network infrastructures, which means that we have to interact with many subcontractors. We have to interact with many telecom operators. Okay? Which means that as it's done in everywhere in the world, we have to follow the law of each and every country to the point. Okay? Now, as an investigator, whenever there is an issue in the company which is not related to security, but allegation that have that identify potential improper behavior or problems such as theft, corruption, fraud, embezzlement, improper behavior, sexual harassment, you have many other intellectual property, conflict of interest, breach of NSA regulation. Okay, NSA stands for National Security Agreement. Okay, Nokia is selling equipment that are inside equipment that can potentially be used to build bombs. Okay, so we have to obey to all this type of regulation. So anytime there is a problem which is in relation to all these issues, the compliance department, which is a mandatory department in such a huge corporation, okay? The compliance department asks the corporate investigation services to look at these issues. And as a corporate investigator, what I do is I look end-to-end to the issue, meaning that when the allegation comes, I'm going to make what we call a due diligence, which is an initial review of the issue, to understand whether there is a problem or not. Because as an investigator, I'm not here every time to prove that the person is guilty. This is a company. I'm here to protect the employee and to protect the company. So my job is to say whether there is a cause found or no cause found. Okay? I'm not here to put people in jail or to make them fired. But I need to protect the company and their assets. So I make a due diligence and I'm trying to assess what is the issue. And let's say, for the sake of our discussion on digital, that there is an issue in a specific country. I have to follow the labor law of the country, which protects the employee, but I have to follow also the data privacy. Okay? The world is getting digital. Everybody is using smartphone and computer. Okay? And everybody is putting a little bit of their personal life on the device. You have pictures, you have SMS, MMS, you have your emails, everything. But when you work in a company, most of the time this device belongs to the company you are working for. So the day you sign a contract with a company, most of the time you sign a disclaimer, an agreement that this is company property information inside. But each country has their own labor law and data privacy law that protects you. But again, if there are company information, the company has the right to take any type of device. We're going to take what's inside. So you have to be very careful of what you put inside. Always.
Even if it's our private phone.
It can be your private phone. If you have your company name on it, I can ask. That's also, I mentioned labor law, because the labor law also, the labor law and the data privacy protect the employee. And each country has their own law and regulation. So I need to follow them. I need to know it. Then usually what I would do is because you're an employee of my company, I'm going to ask you to sign a consent form. If you don't want, there are some next steps to be taken. Okay? But again, you're working for my company, you're working for Nokia. You sign an agreement, you say you want to have your name on it, fine. But if you start to put personal picture or discussing corrupt activities, that's still company information, and I can use that at a later stage. So, when we find there is an issue in the company, okay, there is a problem, fraud, people stole money, very simple. I, as a next step in my investigation, I have the right to collect the laptop of the employee. I can come at your desk, I can take your computer. I don't need to ask you. For example, in Malaysia or in Indonesia or in many countries, because I'm in charge of Asia Pacific, but I'm taking care of all the countries of the world, whenever they need me. So I fly wherever they ask me to go, and I'm going to take the computer. Okay. From this point onwards, I'm going to make what we call a forensic image of your computer. Okay. Which means I need to be able to take I will take your external hard drive, your internal hard drive, and any device you use, connecting it, and I'm going to make an image. To make this image, I didn't bring all my tools, because I can't. I have a big laptop and it's working at home. But we have what we call a forensic bridge. So you can pass it around if you want. So it's a forensic bridge. It allows me, when I take your hard drive, to make a perfect copy, a forensically sound copy, which is acceptable in front of a court of law of your computer. It means that it's equal. We call it bit to bit. As simple as that. What I have and what I transferred on my device is equal to what you have. There is no, it cannot be disputed. This is forensic. If you have 10 files on your computer and I use that, so it's quite simple, I will explain you. To explain you the structures, there is a forensic bridge. I work on a big laptop, but I can work on a desktop. Point here, I want to transfer all your data on my computer so that I can work on it. And then I'll explain you how I work. But to do that, I need to have a forensic bridge. I'm going to plug, and all the external hard drive are different. So I put you two cable inside. You can pass it around. Don't push on too many buttons. On the other one. But this is just showing you, how it goes inside on the bridge, what is going on the external hard drive, and with this one, what is being transferred on my computer. Okay? You can pass it around. Have a quick look. Later on. Just pass that, that's fine. From that point, once I collected the information through the forensic bridge, I'm going to put it, you have different methodology. If you have a desktop, you can keep all the data that you transfer on the desktop. If, for example, if you have a hard drive which is 100 gig, the forensic image that I'm going to have going to be around 200 gig. That's going to be much bigger. So, again, I'm not an engineer, but I learned pretty quickly about it. I'm going to have this forensic copy, which means I'm going to be able to work on what you have in your computer. To do that, we are using software that have been used by different law enforcement all around the world. It's called FTK. You can Google it, FTK. It's called Forensic Toolkit. It belongs to a company which is called Access Data or Syndicate. And you have another software which is called NCASE. These two software are software that help us to that work on all the data you have. Basically, that's going to break down everything that you have in many categories. It's going to tell me exactly how many files you have on your computer. All the categories, whether it's Excel, PowerPoint, Word. It's going to give me a global overview. It's going to give me all your emails. It's going to break it down. Who sent it? When it's been sent? Who was in copy? And it's going to also break down all the words that you have in your hard drive. What it does is when it transfers all the data, that breaks down one word after another word. I will tell you why. Because basically, it becomes a database. I can search if I can search, it's like a massive search engine. I'm gonna have in my software a section which is called search, for example. I'm gonna put inside Roti Chana. That's gonna find me all the discussion, all the web page, all the picture, everything that you have which is related to that specific keywords. So if I want to find cash exchange or corruption, I just put this word. That's going to find me everything. But that's not all. Okay, it expands a new horizon. I can search every type of file. For example, it helps me to find metadata. Metadata is giving me all the information about your Excel file. It's going to tell me that you created this file in January, you modified it in February, you printed in March, everything. So whenever I need to discuss with somebody, because as I told you, I do end-to-end, so I do forensic, and then I do interrogation. I have, through this digital review, I know exactly what I need to know and what the question I need to ask to the person. I can see whether or not people created document or fake document. I can see all of that. It takes a lot of time. That's not done in one day. It takes hours. It takes me 4 hours to process, to make a copy of your image. It takes me 16 hours, 17 hours to make, to process, what we call processing, which basically, as I say, is going to break down the whole data on your computer. I'm going to have access to all your iPhone database. Whenever you plug your phone in your computer and you make a database, Apple make an encrypted copy of your phone on it. If you made it on your corporate laptop, I will access this database. I'm going to have to break the code. And for that, we are using decryption software. One is called PRTK, which is Password Recovery Toolkit. It can take very long time. So that's why every time you're going on internet and they ask you, make a long password, why? Because if my password is Thomas, that's going to break it down in 2 minutes, less. That's why they tell you put a capital letter, put a small letter, put a number, put something so that you can protect yourself. But again, we're talking about company data. So you shouldn't do that, except if it's required by the company to protect files. So the digital process is very, very long. That's not that easy. It takes me hours to work on cases. And it takes me hours to search for information. It's a very complex process, and we're using many types of software to be able to access the information we are looking for. And again, it's based on the case we're looking for, whether it's theft, corruption, fraud. We are looking, each section in our tools allow us to really fine-tune what we're looking for. I can find all your image, all your SMS, everything you have. And again, that's not that easy, but it's being broken down or it's being encrypted. But you have many software. I don't know all this software. I'm not an IT guy, but my boss is fantastic with that. So he gave me a lot of tools. So we are using this very strong software called FTK to help us on a daily basis with our case. But we are using many other softwares that you don't know. Because sometimes when we have corruption, conflict of interest, investigation, we need to be able to understand who are the people we are looking at. So we are using, for example, very good software which is open source, which is called Maltigo, and it can help you basically to pull out from the internet everything according to one name. That's going to take your LinkedIn, your Facebook, all type of accounts you have. That's not going to break the account, but that's going to help you to build a web of name, to connect the dots. Digital is difficult, it's interesting, but you have to be the one to connect the dots. You have to be the one who know what you're looking for all the time. That's a very slow process, but when you have it, when you have what you're looking for, then you can move to the next step, which is discussing with the individual. trying to know better. And we're discussing a few times with the people that are considered suspect, so that we can make more search in our tools. Because these tools are fantastic, but they can be not time but life consuming. You get spend days not finding anything, but that's why you have to be clever about it. You have to think, you have to make the right due diligence. You have to know where you're going, so when you have a case, you have to make a very good background work. In investigator work, you have to think out of the box. You have to try to connect the right. That the tools is just a tool. It can give you bad results if you don't work properly. So you have to be very careful. You make a tool good. The tool is good by itself, but it's going to give you the result you're looking for if you know where to look at and how to look at. So, what can I tell you? If you have any question, go for it if you have any question at any times. We are using other softwares, which is called MP, which is Mobile Phone Examiner, which are specifically dedicated to handset phones. Because not everything is going to be on the computer. As I said, this is company property sometimes. So we have software that allows us to extract the contact. Again, the SMS, the picture, your email. And then we try to connect them. Even for Chinese software like WeChat, you can extract that. You can build back the database and try to discuss. And we don't do that all the time, but just understand that the forensic part with all these tools, they might not give results all the time, but they can help you to connect the dots. And that's why it's very important. Because people who do these kind of things, they're not going to be helpful whatsoever. So you have to be aware that you need to have your own toolbox, be ready. Try to search, you have your computer, you have your software, that's going to take you hours to look at it. And again, if there is no problem, then that's good for the employees, that's good for the company. But if there are problems, we have to make sure 100% that there is nothing. And whenever we find something which is relevant to law enforcement, we always give it to law enforcement. One of the two main issues that we encountered, and many companies, I think, so that it was some employees do fraud tax related. The company has an exposure. So when an employee making a type of fraud which will impact the company tax, means that from the country where they are, they could have exposure. So we always go to law enforcement, we tell them, and then law enforcement take over on the problem that is related to this specific issue. If I have a problem of theft, but I identify there is a tax-related issue, then I show that to the police, and our lawyer is going to make a police report. Whenever we find anything which is a breach of law, we show it. When we have an employee which has inappropriate pictures of what we call today child pornography, I have to stop working immediately and call the police. That's how it's done. So we always cooperate with law enforcement to the extent that we have to. That's very, very important, but I'm focused on corporate crime, white-collar crime, all the type of fraud you can have. And these forensic tools are what we have at our disposal. And we are using the same tools as the police are using. We don't have the same knowledge or the same experience. It's not CSI, continue, but it's much longer. But the forensic is what today helps us to close the case. Helps us to close the case because once we have the forensic, then we have very good and productive interviews. You can't lie on forensic interviews. As I said, I made a one-to-one copy of your computer and your phone. If I take my evidence and I put it in front of you, saying you created this Excel file, that is a summary of all the money you stole. I have the metadata. That shows you created, you modified it, you printed, you put it a password. What do you have to say? And if I get that, the rest of my job is to make a report to the HR department, to the lawyers, and then the compliance committee that we have in such corporation is taking decision to terminate the employee or to sue the employee. So that's what I'm doing. do you have any question, anything on forensic or anything?
Since you deal with data, is there
touching any type of data, we have approval from legal counsel. Our lawyers gave us, every time we have data privacy lawyers that are based, I think they're in Finland right now, and we ask them, okay, I'm going in Indonesia next week. I need to take 5 laptops. Can I take it? He's going to ask me more questions. Why? Because I'm a French citizen in Malaysia. I have a French contract, which means I obey the French labor law. You can imagine how it's difficult, but you know, I'm working in Malaysia, so you have to know all of that, citizenship, contract, nature, so that you can know exactly, and you know, you give all the proper information to the lawyers so that they can take the right decision. Because if you don't take the right decision, then everything is becoming inadmissible. If I start an investigation and if I do forensic without my lawyer approval, even if I find something, I can be fired. It's not a very comfortable place also for us as an investigator, because if you make a mistake, if you don't have the approval, if you have no green light from the lawyers, then you're done. You are the highest point of compliance of the company. You know all the secrets of the company. You know everything about everybody. I have like, I'm going to speak like that, that's fine. I have a lot of water. I have for every case, I have custody, I'm the custodian of all the people information. Every company has a different way to do it, but at the end of the day, I keep all the external hard drive because I work on external hard drive. So if I take your computer, I'm going to have your image on one external hard drive. If I take yours, I'm going to have one on another one. Because we need to collect evidence and to keep the chain of custody. Very important. Similar to law enforcement. I'm not going to take the laptop without the guy to sign it, me to sign it, to take the serial number, to say where it's going to be stored, and where I keep it. And it's sealed. Once the image and I finish, it's sealed, so that any point of time, if somebody is coming, law enforcement is coming, they can take it. We are not above the law. If law enforcement is coming, we give them everything they ask. But we need to make sure that it's done according to the company standards and the law in the country. That's very key. So at home I work from home because they don't have an office for me. And if I can close the door, then everybody hears what I'm talking about. So I work from home. At home I have like 15 external hard drive right now in a safe. And then when I need to move them, I move them at the office in the safe. And that's it. We need to keep everything secure. That's key. Because we are working a lot with the US government. Again, anti-corruption is key. Maybe you know or not, but Alcatel-Nokia, that's an issue in Malaysia a long time ago. And the Department of Justice in the US send people and ask for information. So you have to be readily and easily available to provide that. We are a company, so we have to obey to the law of the country. Whatever they ask, we comply. We work with lawyers, we work with them, but we give them everything they ask. And everything needs to be forensically sound and safe. Very, very important. And you have different methods to do the digital forensic mine today. In our companies, we have a massive 80-inch laptop with 500 gig, 3 internal hard drive, solid state. Okay, 500 gig. I have 64 gig memory on it. It's a machine that's super fast. Why? Because we need to process a huge amount of data. So when I take your data, I have one internal hard drive which is just for the operating system. I have one that's going to be the processing engine, and I have one that's going to be the database. Why? Because when you split your hard drive in 3 different drives, that's going to help your computer to think and to go faster. If you have everything on the one hard drive, and you can try to put everything, all your movie, all your software on one, you're going to see that's going to be super slow. That's not going to work. Sometimes you're like, oh, why is it so slow? It's because you have everything on one drive. This computer that I have is less powerful than a desktop. But me, I'm traveling all the time. They call me tonight and they say, you go there, I go there, and I take my computer, I take my bridge, and I go there. And I make as many images as they ask. But we need to have the right set of tools. We need to be quick. That's why we have this super powerful laptop, so that we can process the image very, very quickly. So when I work, I have all your image on an external hard drive, and I have my 3 hard drive working independently, so that you can smooth and, like break down all your hard drive and build it back and make the database I was telling you about, so that you can start to work on it. So the way you format your tools can also impact the way you work later on. Because if you're not properly set up with the right set of tools, instead of taking you 17 hours, it's going to take you a week. And even your computer is going to crash before. So me, I have laptops, but a lot of the big 4, PwC and Stadium, these kind of guys, are doing forensic. They have forensic division. But the guys are doing purely forensic. Me, as you see, I have a hand-to-hand scope. I look at everything. And they're working on desktop. And desktop are much, much powerful. That works if you are not traveling. But you need to be ready. I have 2 laptops. One which is normal, working like every day, and my forensic. And on both of them, I install this software because I need to be flexible also. If I need to do 2 things at the same time, it does not happen very, very often. I need to be ready. So the tools are what's going to help you in your job. And the knowledge that you're going to develop on the software. So yeah, if you don't stop me, I'll continue. So don't say anything. If you have any questions, just go for it.
Okay, any questions?
Good morning, sir.
Hi.
My name is Raman. I'm from DCI. My question is, if you wish to suspect social accounts such as Facebook, WhatsApp, can a digital investigator contact Facebook to get details on the suspect and such thing?
Just to be clear, what was the beginning of your question? I got the end, but the beginning.
To investigate social accounts.
Okay.
Suspect.
I do a lot of Facebook search, which is cool. Spend a lot of time on Facebook. Why? Because again, as I said earlier, I connect the dots. You may protect your Facebook, but your uncle will not. And I will be assessed I will be through your uncle to look at all your pictures where you are showing a lot of money and you stole a car. And I can see that. That's why it happens many, many times. I call people, not through their Facebook, through their family Facebook. Because you don't protect yourself. But if I need to contact Facebook, I will not contact myself. I will ask the lawyers to contact them. Tell you most of the time that's not going to work. If Facebook is not cooperating, Facebook, Apple, LinkedIn, they don't cooperate with the US government. You need to have a mandate for that, a warrant. That's not going to work. We tried once for one of our CEO. He was harassed by somebody. He had a stalker. This person was making very rude and bad comments and slandering this person to the whole company, sending emails. We contacted LinkedIn because we knew the name of the person, and they asked us to give us a warrant. But in US, for the US citizen, they don't give you this type of information. They have law to protect that. Not law to protect, but LinkedIn is really reluctant and protect the privacy of their user or lie. Doesn't matter, I found some other way to catch the person. But you can ask. And if you have a chance to ask, just do it. But don't forget, you can make a lot of search by yourself. You just have to be smart about when you do it.
Any other questions?
Sir, one more question. Digital investigation, one of the steps is creating hard disk. Creating an image on a hard disk. So my question is, why we need to create image on a hard disk? Can't we copy soft copy?
You can't copy because in front of a court of law, there's no value. What says that you didn't change the copy? What says that you have 100% exactly the same thing that you copied? If I take your USB key and just plug it, who says that I'm going to take the 10 file that I copied, exactly the 10 file? I need to make a forensic image which is bit to bit. If it says 1 million bit, that's 1 million bit. It has to show me, it gives technical term, but it gives me the hash. So the document has a hash number, and then I'm going to have another hash number, and they need to be identical. The only way to do that is to use a bridge. If I worked directly on the data you give me, I can corrupt it. That makes it useless. So always make a forensic copy of the image so that you can work on it. Working on the image doesn't mean you're going to work on the hard drive itself. It means you're going to work on the picture. So you can play with your picture around without damaging it. That's it, you know. You're not damaging any evidence. You have the evidence, which is exactly, and FTK actually provided some very good presentation that you can show to a judge. We had a case in Sri Lanka, a labor law case, and the judge doesn't know FTK. Whose judge doesn't know FTK, this kind of thing, are software? So you need to be able to explain them that the evidence you are providing to them and where they are coming. So this piece of Excel file, this document that I'm giving you, judge, is coming from his computer. He has to know how you do it, and is it 100%, and that it's not disputable. And then you can have, moving on, a very good discussion, a productive discussion, looking at the evidence you find on his computer. But you need to explain, not all judges are IT guys, you know, and lawyers are trying to push back, you know. Prosecutor wants to know, defense wants to know. So using law enforcement software and making forensic copy, make this discussion out of the table. This is forensic. There is no point discussing. This is you creating this document, and this is your information. I didn't make it up. I can't make it up.
Thomas,
Yeah.
how many people actually document, you know, the criminal thoughts or the criminal activities onto the computer?
What do you mean? Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, like you just said, yeah, someone who is planning to steal something, perhaps he will write down in his computer something, and then later on you collect all this information and you can charge it. Yeah, that's one of the things that you look for. Perhaps he put a plan in his computer. But in your experience, is this normal? I mean, is it normal for somebody to put down all this? I mean, the record of money they stole in the computer?
Not everybody is smart all the time, but they don't make it that obvious. The thing is, the things are deleted, but it does not delete all the time. You know, for example, on the 1st of the month, the law, I'm going to come and take your computer. So I need to send you a document to say I'm going to come on the 15th. So between the 1st and the 15th, people think it's smart to delete the computer, delete everything. Not smart. Because when I'm coming on the 15th and I'm taking your computer, I can see exactly all the events that happened during this time. And even if you delete it, Windows, they've been clever these days, they created what they call shadow copy. Okay. Basically, any event, strong event that happened on your computer, you will not know it, but it's going to make a copy of what you delete. Because the computer, as a computer, think it's crashing. Wow, why do you delete 100 gig of information like that? You're not going to know it, it's going to make a copy. And me, my software, allow me to see what happened, what has been deleted. Sometimes I can see, sometimes I can't see, but I'm going to see the name, I'm going to see the path, you know, where was this file stored. Of course, if there is no file, but you store this file where the path is saying money I stole, I can't see the file, but I'm going to ask you why did you create a file called money I stole. So We don't recover all the time everything. Okay, that's not also the case all the time. Because again, we are working on corporate computers. People are most of the time trying to do that on a personal time, personal computer. But there is always something. There is trace. So we get trace. Whenever you put a USB in your computer, it leaves a trace. That's going to tell me that you're connecting this USB inside your corporate computer. Although I can't see the file itself, I can see the whole path and file structures. So I can see, for example, if you store company property, which is like companies that have intellectual property, I can see that you put it on this external hard drive, although it's not on the computer, I can see that it's on your private USB key. Now, I go to the lawyer for that, because I can prove that company confidential property, and you are not supposed to have it on a personal device. Again, that's what you sign when you sign a contract with a company. That is company property, company data. So you can't have it everywhere on USB external drive. It has to stay on the company USB, company hard drive. If you move it somewhere, I can see it being moved. I'm not going to see the file, but I'm going to see the name of the file. Who, when, how, all the metadata information is going to help me to know a lot more about what you did. It's not easy, we don't have that all the time. It takes a lot of time, but as you said, it's sometimes there, sometimes not there, we catch them, we catch them. And we have high success rate.
Another question, like I asked Saiful, when he goes for a fire investigation, what's the first thing he looks for? So he says, maybe somebody tells him something. Yeah, you know, I saw smoke, and I saw this, and I saw that, and that is the starting position. But for you, where is your starting position?
My starting position, it's even before the forensic starts. It's whenever there are issues, I have to make my due diligence, but my personal is the discovery interview. When I have an allegation, I don't know if it's true or not, but I need to have an interview with the person, or with the persons. And that's where I look at them. You know, tell me the truth, you like it, okay. But I look at you, and we're going to discuss 1, 2 hours, 3 hours. Then I'm going to go into the forensic. And all along, the key is to stay impartial. Whatever the allegations are, the key is to stay impartial. You can't have sentiment. You can't think bad for the person. Me, I like human contact. So my interviews are going to help me to do my forensic, and then to do my interrogation. Forensic, you're going to develop your skills and your ability with times. It takes a lot of time, so you're much younger than me, so you're going to learn much faster than I learn. But don't forget the human factor.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Thomas. We can see the changes in digital forensic investigation, the footprints left by perpetrators of any crime, and also we can compare file investigation, document investigation, and also computers used in crime. So thank you very much, Mr. Thomas.